you have this crazy job, you're working, 14, 16 hours, and you still manage to build your due diligence, go through the entire process, and actually get with someone on a Zoom call and close them. So that is,
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, it turns out the guy that I signed, the first guy that I signed, is actually someone here locally. I'm in Minnesota. He's a guy who's in this area because I figured, hey, why don't I just like while I was because I was trying one in like Oklahoma for a while, and like it was just for one thing, a mistake I definitely made was I spent way too much time on business owners that were never going to pan out, but I just kept pushing it, and like being like, oh well, what if I, and compromising, like, well, how about this, and oh well, how about it, what if I give you an extra week free or whatever, and all kinds of stuff because I was just so
Mhm.
desperate basically to try to get that first deal that when they were kind of like, ah, that's too expensive, which is usually what it is. And then I was just like, well, how about this to try it a little bit more? They're like, well, I'm not really sure these leads are going to play out because, there's always complaints, right? You have to
Yes,
deal.
absolutely. Yeah, I've done that too. I've been desperate before. I've gone with whatever they wanted. They're like, yeah, instead of flat fee, let's just do commission and I'll take care
Right.
of it. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, sure, let's do it. And like, it's just desperation. You just want to take anything. But with time, you learn that no, you gotta have the control the entire time. You
Yeah, you
can,
have to be able, you have to really be willing to walk away. I mean, I know Nick
right.
talks about that a lot, obviously, and that makes perfect sense. But it's, it's one thing to believe it, then you're in the situation and you can feel the deal slipping away. You're kind of like, yeah, you kind of start panicking a little bit, like, wait, how about this? How about this? So
Yeah.
it's that just comes with putting in the reps and just putting in the calls, and you just have to sort of figure you're gonna lose more than you're gonna gain. It's just a numbers game. You just have to keep doing it over and over until it starts to click. I mean, there's really no shortcuts there. Obviously, the material is a shortcut in a sense, but you have to actually practice. Someone can teach you how to hit a baseball, but you still have to go into the batting cage. You know what I mean? And then the first deal that I got was actually is in my area in Minnesota. It's kind of like a resort area. It's like up north, and there's like a lot of lakes around and stuff. And so there's a lot of money. So it's a relatively small city, but there's a lot of money that comes through this town and stuff. And so I figured, why don't I just try it out here? Once I kind of got the process down, I was like, well, let me just try it out here. And I ended up actually landing this guy, and I actually drove to his house and signed him there. But I know that's not typical. But so that's how that ended up working out.
And
So
this is a guy that you don't know, right?
no, I don't. I didn't know this guy at all. The usual process. I just set them, the leads in advance. But then it was just kind of like, well, I'm in Minnesota. Why don't we just meet in person since we're, he was only like an hour away.
Yeah, that works. I mean, yeah, you had to drive an hour each way, but you took care of business. Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, man, you hit the nail on the head there. Initially, you want to reach out to anyone in your circle, anyone that you see, and not everyone is qualified for this business model.
No, not at all. Actually, it turns
So
out.
yeah,
Like
you were
it's
absolutely
really
right.
it's a lot. I do liken it a little bit to like going on like dates. You know what I mean? In a way, I mean you're trying to form a partnership, and so like just like when you're single and you're dating, like most of the dates are probably not going to be that great. You know what I mean? Like you just do like a bunch of them, and then a few of them are good, and then you just sort of narrow it down. It's the same deal. It's just again, it's just a numbers game. I mean, obviously there's things you can do to maybe get your percentage up a little bit for sure, but in the end, you can't wait for like the perfect scenario beforehand. You just have to just be like, all right, close enough, just go for it, and then just see
Yep.
what happens.
Yeah, sometimes the people that you reach out to are companies that it kind of looks counterintuitive. Like, why am I reaching out to this company? It's because they're running Google Ads. Like, it's not your business. Just call them. They already believe in the paying for leads. You got to talk to these people. Even though they're big, they have, sometimes like 100 employees, 4 gatekeepers. I got a breakthrough because they're paying for Google Ads. They're on Angie Leads. And then by the same token, you got these companies are like, this dude is awesome. Look at him. He's young. He's 25. He's got this power washing company. I should talk to him. He would buy my leads. No, he's never bought leads in his life. He's not going to buy your leads because he's not qualified. He's not on Angie. He's not on Thumbtack. He does not pay for Google Ads. That's the lesson that I learned. Just because you're looking at a business owner doesn't mean, oh yeah, the first impression, yeah, he's awesome. He would be perfect for leads. Let me go and sell him. They
Yeah,
got to
you have no
believe in
idea
the
who
leads
you're
model.
talking to. Really. Yeah, you just never know.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely ran into that where like a lot of, and a lot of times it's just guys who are trying to nickel and dime. Some guys have had calls before, and so they're just like, oh, I know what this is, and then they just like, take your free leads and run. There that happens. Or
Yeah, I just
there's
had that just yesterday. A guy was like super fired up. Sent him 2 leads. They check on him the next day. He's like, "Yeah, this is great. Send me another one." And then
yeah.
in the afternoon, I call him. He's like, "Hey, I haven't gotten anything yet, but are you still on? Did you reach out to the guy that I sent you yesterday?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did he get a quote?" I'm like, not yet, not." And I kind of started feeling that he's a little off. And then the next day, I call him. He doesn't answer me. I'm like, "Hey, if you want to jump out of this, it's cool. You're not gonna hurt my feelings." He's like, yeah, I don't think I'm interested. Just like that. So this guy could have drugged me for another week or two.